Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the 7th race on calendar for Division 3 here in the 10th season of the Midwest F1 League, and it takes place tonight at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's a track that's gone under a couple big changes in the last few years, most notably getting rid of the turns out of the chicane in Sector 3. So now, 14 corners make up this 4.6-kilometer circuit, 9 to the right. That number's not right anymore. I said it's initially had 9 to the right, 7 to the left. That's not correct anymore. 2 DRS zones here with the biggest opportunity for overtaking being the DRS on the pit straight. It's one of the longest in F1 Div 3 here. Back at it again, hotspot on the call. Last time out in Div 3, this division put on an absolute show. That being at the Red Bull Ring last time out. And the championship battle at the top still very close. I believe now we do have Brian Mosser leading Noganator by a mere 7 points. If we look, can we look at the Drivers' Championship? Yep, Brian Mosser leads 7 points over the Noganator, 290 to 283. A-Dub not far behind, only about 30 points behind, 253. Alex at 224. Peter DRH rounding out the top 5 at 217. I'm getting pinged here, probably for the weather. Peter saying, readying up, he'll drop the weather. And it will be a beautiful day for a Grand Prix here at the Circuit Barcelona, Catalunya. Absolutely no rain in sight. So it should be a pure motor race here today. Who is going to be our first driver out on track? I thought we were at least in for 17 tonight. It looks like we've got 15, but no mind. That's still a pretty solid number. Looks like our first driver on track is going to be the AlphaTauri of Texas Tornado. It's a name I have. I don't believe he was in Division 3 last time out. We're going to look at... I'm trying to look for Pork, calling people up. It looks like the only driver that really has a seat being replaced is that of Gab. He's in the McLaren 4, that of Tono. If we look at the constructors' standings now, Aston Martin atop the table at a 482. Mercedes 6 points behind at 476. Alfa Romeo only 4 behind them at 472. Williams 398. McLaren's at 383. Haas 367. Ferrari 363. AlphaTauri 272. Alpine 263. And Red Bull, the only team to not even break the 150-point mark so far at 148. I believe, according to my notes, the only 3 drivers that should be missing tonight are Hammer, Subtle, and Maxo, so we are missing at least another 2. But Texas Tornado will be first round the Barcelona Catalunya circuit here for the 7th round of the Division 3 season, downhill in towards turn 1. Got about 4 gears here, no, maybe 5. Quite a wide first corner, actually. I would expect more difficulties, perhaps, coming through these second combination of corners here, 2 and 3. Very comfortable corner. Turn 3 is now in towards the famous Rosberg and Hamilton corner of turn 4. Out of that, down the hill towards turn 5. Tricky braking zone, this one. Exiting the corner, turn 6. Up through the nice little switch of 7 and 8. Gotta watch the sausage curve on the inside there. If you bottom out on that, the car's gonna be going for a spin. Uphill, turn 9. Very difficult corner. The Master exits turn 9. DRS activated. Now in towards turn 10, which is now more of a looping left-hander. As you remember before, it was kind of a very tight and angular combination of left-handed corners. So now we don't necessarily see moves happen in that tight corner. This is the big change, though, as you can tell, exiting turn 13. Forget about the chicane. It's officially been taken off of Hotspot's hit list of worst chicanes in F1. As now, Texas Tornado, it's a 112, 188. And boy, that just looks so fantastic to go through those 2 corners and not need to worry about slowing down. I will say, though, from the neutral perspective, that chicane did provide a nice little extra variable in the qualifying session, and sometimes even with the help of DRS, as Peter DRH, we've seen go to the line now, is 115.675. It's a very interesting situation, this, because I think realistically, it was an awful chicane, didn't really aid the racing, except if you had a car in front of you. That's probably maybe goes original third. If you had a car in front of you, and you either got a better run out of the corner or a worse run out of the corner, it would definitely affect the ability to overtake going down the pit straight, and we don't have that anymore. It also gave a good little extra variable in the qualifying and the lap times, but I think for the better, it is now gone. So it's Texas Tornado provisional pole, 112, 188, Nogator second, half a second behind in his McLaren. A-Dub has, sorry, who was that that's just gone third? We do have Call Me Maybe in the Mercedes, who's into the gravel there. As you can see, I believe it was either the Ferrari or the McLaren. It was the McLaren of Gab who's just gone fourth, just under 9/10 of a second off. So, Texas Tornado, his initial lap, very, very good. In fact, untouchable, I would say, at the moment. The closest gap is half a second. Coming out of the corner now, I believe we do have, it is the Williams of Fuse. No, he's going to be starting one here. That text message in the Alpine on his way in. We have the Alfa Romeo of John Carlos making his way through turn 14 now. Let's see what he has. I'll tell you what, that was a 1:15.951. But I'm just looking here how cleanly they were able to take that final corner, barely even lifting off as A-Dub's on his way in. It looks like we got the AlphaTauri of Los Manigos coming around the final corner now. What does he have at the line? He goes fifth, 1:13.319. That moves the top four within a second of provisional pole of Texas Tornado, the other AlphaTauri. Coming up next around the line, it is the Aston Martin of Alex. Let's see if he even lifts going through this final corner. I would assume there is quite a lift there. Yes, there is. Barely any braking though. However, as you now find yourself going through the line, he goes P8, I do believe. We have one of the McLarens who's gone off. It is that of Gab, who is slow down the backstretch in towards turn 10. Williams in front of him of, I believe it's Fuse Rogue. No, it's actually the opposite. Peter DRH who's going to be coming through now. Fuse Rogue on low fuel. Peter DRH, I would assume, might be on a timed lap here, except I think his sector timing there did not look too convincing, and he's on his way in. We've got 12 minutes to go here, and once again, the top three separated by 7.5 tenths, only the top four within the same second of our current provisional pole leader of Texas Tornado, who, at the moment, coming back out on track, and he's got the Mercedes of Call Me Maybe behind him, looking to, oh, actually, that's Brian Mosser behind him, looking to further his championship lead this time out. Now, if you remember correctly, last time when we were at Austria at the Red Bull Ring, we did have Nogenator finish higher. He finished third. The top three went Fuse Rogue taking the win, A-Dub second, Nogenator third, and Brian Mosser fourth. But if you remember correctly, Nogenator had the incident with that of Demon in the Alpine, who doesn't look as if he's here tonight, which resulted in Nogenator being dropped to P6. Moved Brian Mosser up to third, Gravity to fourth, and Demon to fifth. So that would give for the 7-point differential we have in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, because if you remember last time out, it was that of Brian Mosser and Nogenator tied on points. And it looks as if we have the AlphaTauri Texas Tornado. Our provisional pole sitter at the moment has lost the car going through and going down out of turn 9, down the DRS here. I'm wondering how badly he flipped the curb or where he's actually gone off, because he looked quite far down the straight to have lost the car. I'm wondering what has actually happened there. Has he retired it on track? Has he genuinely lost the car? Because he would have had to have performed a hell of a correction job if he did catch the curb oddly on the outset of turn 9. See, with not Gravity here, you will catch yourself off guard through that corner. You can slide. But I'm wondering how bad that slide actually was to end up, you know, another 500 meters down the straight. Along with now the Mercedes of Call Me Maybe, he's on his outlap. Let's go along with him as we have 9.5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. Around the final corner, DRS activated here. Battery being used for the Mercedes of Call Me Maybe as he heads down the pit straight. And a reminder, as if the... Oh, Demo is here today. He's in the Red Bull, yes. Was he in the Red Bull last week? I forget if he was in the Red Bull last week or not. No, he was in an Alpine last week. So Red Bull, so Demo in a Red Bull this week. As Call Me Maybe sets purple sector 1. We do have a Ferrari of, I believe it's Soy Loco. Well, he's just making way for other drivers on track. Let's see what Texas Tornado has to say. Quote unquote, well, that sucks. So I'm assuming he has genuinely lost the car. Is that of Texas Tornado, which is a quite odd place to lose it, especially being that far down the straight, but lose it he has. Call me maybe exiting turn 9 now down the back straight towards the sector 2 timing line. He's currently 0.2 of a second faster. It's purple sector 2 as well for the Mercedes. Meanwhile, A-Dub has been able to move within 0.3 of a second of Texas Tornado, and with 8.5 minutes to go, I would assume Texas Tornado in his time may not be so untouchable after all. Let's see what Comey maybe has to offer. He looks like he's got a pretty solid lap here. To the line goes the Mercedes. He does improve by 3.5 tenths. It's a 1:13 flat. Moves himself up into 5th. 0.3 of a second behind his teammate of Brian Mosser, who occupies 4th. He is on his way in. It'll be interesting to see Brian Mosser and Noganator that close together. They're currently occupying row number 2. And boy, would that be a fun one to watch. Noganator coming out on his outlap now. Only driver yet to set a time is that of Fuse Rogue, who I believe is coming to the line now. And wow, 1:11.864. Provisional pole by over 0.3 of a second. And suddenly that Williams now finds himself in a very convincing position for pole position here. Reminder, he is last week's winner out in Austria. By the way, to this point in the season, we have had 6 different rounds, 6 different winners. So, do we find ourselves with our first repeat winner of the season here tonight? That'll be a big question playing on Fuse Rogue's mind. Although it has to be said, he has some quality drivers in and around him in his immediate vicinity here. Texas Tornado, for the most part so far, has had a pretty solid session. Despite his DNF, that time held up right up about to the 7.5 minute mark there. Oh, and that's gone really wide as Noganator. He's gone over, I believe, nearly into the sand on the exit of turn 14. And now down the pit straight goes the McLaren. Currently finds himself 8.5 tenths off the pace of our leader, now by Fuse Rogue. Through the first combination of corners here, and it looks like he's having to abandon this lap. Behind him and through goes his teammates of Gab. Temporary teammate, I might add. Gab only in place of Tono for tonight. Noganator has abandoned this lap. Interesting decision there. He does find himself 0.04 of a second to the safety of losing position to Brian Mosser. Although now, instead of occupying row 2, they'll be occupying row 3, as I believe that was Los Mandigos, who's just put himself into the top 7. 12 1,000ths of a second better than the Mercedes of Call Me Maybe. Purple sector 2 for Gab as he makes his way up through turns 11 and 12. This might be a very solid lap here from the McLaren. Through turn 13. Down the hill, past the no longer there chicane. Out of 14, yeah, I gotta say, this looks a pretty solid lap here. It's not going to be worth pole, but it is a 1:12.718, 3.5 tenths better, and he now splits the 2 championship contenders of Noganator and Brian Mosser. He now occupies a 3rd row lockout with his temporary teammate in the other McLaren. Brian Mosser is pushed down to 7th. But I gotta say, look at that gap between P4 and P7. 64 1,000ths of a second between those 4 drivers, and that is a good little gap to have there. Soy Loco in the pits now, 5 minutes to go in the session. Coming to the line next looks to be the Alpha Tauri of Los Mandigos, and he is on his way into the pits, so next up behind him will be the Aston Martin of Not Gravity, who looks to be 8.5 tenths of a second better through the 2nd sector so far. I believe that will move him right into that mix there between P7 and P4. So let's see what he has to offer here through turn 13, down through turn 14. Exiting the final corner is Not Gravity. To the line he goes, 1:12.023. He's a 1.5 faster, and now on the front row, just a 1/10 off of our provisional pole sitter, Fuse Rogue, who that 1:11.864 looks, I would think, solidly untouchable here. A-Dub has retired from the session at some point. I must have just recently missed that. Noganator has gone faster, that being just under 3/10. He moves himself up to 4th. So now, it looks to be Brian Mosser and Gab now on row 4 instead of row 3 or 2, as Noganator now has some separation between himself and Brian Mosser. Now, remember last time out, I think I've mentioned this already, I'm not quite sure. I'll say it again, though. Formation lap will be off. There is still glitches surrounding the formation lap, and I don't think the grid, a lot of the grid, really caught on to that last time at Austria. Brian Mosser being one of them, lost several positions off the start. Was able to claw back up through the order. But hopefully he'll be on his game today, as I thought formation lap was going to be turned back on. It wasn't. 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Oh, Gravity nearly crashed the car going into the pit lane. Next up, the Red Bull, it is Demo. The Demo last time out really impressed me when we were in Austria. He was a driver all day, looked in contention for the podium, and then had the incident with Noganator with just a few laps to go as well. So this is going to be a lap I'm very much looking forward to here for the Red Bull of Demo as he makes his way through the 3rd corner now. And it looks like he's holding it pretty well. I wouldn't say it's a full quality lap so far, and the timing would agree. He's 7/100th of a second slower than his previous best down the hill in towards turn 5 now. Bit of a wide apex, and exit quite slow as well. This one doesn't look to be that good of a lap for Demo. Up through turn 7 and 8 through 9. Looking at the Alfa Romeo of John Carlos. Going slowly, going through turn 13 now, perhaps getting ready for a time lap. Demo now 2.5 tenths better through sector 2. He's gone purple sector 2. But he's made the time up somewhere. Oh, maybe a bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 12. 13 looks good. 14 looks alright. So the line goes Nomad. He does improve by half a second. It's a 1:12.750. Only barely enough to get himself within the top 10. And now that stretch goes from P6 down to P9. Peter Gearing has apparently left the session. Remember, he is the lobby host, so I think he's going to be able to get back in here shortly. We have both Fuse Rogue and Not Gravity on out laps here. As you can see, the Fuse Rogue, the Williams has just moved through your camera then. I believe Call Me Maybe on an out lap as well. So 3. Oh, we've got a Red Bull who spun around there. That's Demo, who is backed in the fence, and he has retired from the session. Has he crashed, though? Now, has he... Well, everything looks intact to me. I think that might be a retirement on track. And if that's the case, that'll result in a qualifying ban next round. 1 minute to go here in the session. We've got 2 drivers coming through the final sector looking to put themselves on pole. Peter DRH back in the session. Brian Mosser's retired in the pits. And so now is Fuse Rogue starting a timed lap here. What does he have in store? Alex is retired, that being in the pits. Remember, the time to beat is a 1:11.864 with 30 seconds remaining in the session. We'll keep an eye on both him and Not Gravity. Remember, the battle for provisional pole within a 10th and a half now, as it looks as if, oh, I don't think Gravity's gotten the best go through turn 1 that time. He's taking too much of the, turn 2. He's taking too much of the apex curve, in my opinion. To the line goes Gravity. He does look slower by 6/100th of a second. Fuse Rogue does set purple sector 1 so far. So the line now is going to be Soy Loco. Let's see what he has to offer. He's currently 2.5 tenths better. Oh, and he's gone quite wide in the final corner. And I tell you what, Soy Loco looked to be on a very good lap then, but he's gone into the gravel exiting the corner, and that will spell the end of the Ferrari session there. Fuse Rogue making his way, and he has invalidated whilst we were away. And so now, well, but not Gravity is still slower by 0.2 of a second. I'm wondering where Fuse is invalidated. Has he left the door open for Not Gravity? Not Gravity's got a lot of work to do through this final corner, and he will come into the pits, so it will be up to either Los Mandigos or Call Me Maybe. Call Me Maybe coming around the final corner now. I don't think this is going to be a lap for pole, Although Call Me Maybe does not improve 0.2 of a second slower, Mandy goes on his way in, and Giancarlo's crosses the line and does not improve. So it is the Williams of Fuse Rogue, last week's race winner, is on pole, not Gravity, behind by less than 0.2 of a second. So your starting grid then for the Spanish Grand Prix, sponsored by Valentine 94. It's Fuse Rogue on pole by less than 0.2 of a second over Not Gravity. Last week's race winner has a good one here. Texas Tornado 3rd, Noganator 4th, A-Dub 5th, Soy Loco 6th, Brian Mosser 7th. He'll have a lot of work to do. Gab 8th, 9th is Demo, 10th is Los Manigos, 11th is Call Me Maybe, 12th is Alex, 13th Dead Text Message, 14th is Peter DRH, and 15th is Jean Carlos in the Alfa Romeo. So, big story here. Noganator on the second row, Brian Mosser on the 4th row. He'll have a lot of work to do. He only has a 7-point lead over Noganator. Championship lead, could it change hands yet again today? We'll find out. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is a perfect day for a motor race here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Reminder, this is the Spanish Grand Prix presented by Valentine 94, as he did sponsor today's Grand Prix. That was a program that Pork Chops was offering. You can sponsor different rounds throughout the season when it doesn't fall on a coinciding race weekend with Real Life F1, and Valentine voted to put in the Catalunya circuit. Good choice, in my opinion. Reminder that Midwest F1 brought to you by Raise Energy and Epos Audio. Remember, Formation Lap is off for the foreseeable future. We have had glitches with disqualifications in the Formation Lap, and I guess the game has not sorted that out yet. So unfortunately, it will stay off for the time being. Last time out, again, that caught out several drivers by surprise, most notably that of what was his name? Brian Mosser? Yeah, how'd I forget that? So, Spain this week, Netherlands next weekend. Finally, the F1 summer break is over, and we'll get back to the real-life action as well as more action here in the Midwest. Canada, after that, Saudi Arabia, September 7th, Singapore after that, Japan, Brazil, Qatar, and Bahrain to end out the season. And oh, by the way, Bahrain season finale, that one should be pretty fun. We had that 2 seasons ago in Season 8, and that was a hell of a way to end off a season. And this being the 10th season of Midwest F1, brilliant stuff to be had all around. I tell you what, we've seen a lot of drivers, a lot of commentators as well, come and go. Really, it has to be said, the racing in these divisions are so brilliant that even I'm surprised I'm still around. But I tell you what, I'm going to be here for a long time to come. Because I tell you what, when you got racing like this, it's hard to not look and watch. So Division 3 here. Once again, championship implications in play. Brian Mosser only 7 points clear of Noganator in second. A-Dub has the ability to chop his way into this battle for the championship here. He sits 30 points off of second place, 37 off of the lead. And I tell you what, he is an exceptionally quick driver, so definitely look out for him to make a splash here. No rain on tap for today. Should be an absolute mad dash to the finish. I would assume our strategy is going to be medium to hard or hard to medium, either one. As much as I like having accurate data on the tires, I think it's more entertaining when I just don't take the notes on it, just so we can see what the... I feel like sometimes having all the answers is less fun. That part's for sure. So, yeah, should be a great one here today. Again, I can't see the timer when we load into the lobby, so I do feel as if sometimes I just kind of sit here and bide the time as we wait for the lights to get going here. I used to be able to have a 30-second timer at the top of the screen to let me know when we were going to start. I do not have that any longer. Thanks, Codemasters, or EA, whoever has this game now. And here we go. This is it. This is what I'm talking about. The lights turning on here, 3, 4, and then eventually 5. And we are lights out and away we go here in Spain. It looks like Fuse Rogue definitely got a better start off the line that time. Gravity really trying his best to tuck in behind the Williams here. Who's going to make the move down in towards turn 1? Texas Tornado blocks off the inside line from the McLaren to Noganator. Noganator's going to try it around the outside. It looks like the Alfa Romeo of A-Dub has made up some spots there. Brian Mosser yet again losing spots. He's gone wide through turn 2. Does he collect the car? Yes, he does, but not before falling off several spots there as down the order he goes. And now down to the inside goes the Italian of Alex, as it looks like his teammate of Call Me Maybe has spun, and we do have several cars off towards the back. Call me maybe being one of them. He has spun it around Peter DRH, and I think Gab may have been invested in that one as well. And it looks like the Aston Martin of Not Gravity has made his way in towards that second spot. One-stop strategy here, lap 14 to 16. That says soft to mediums. That is that actually what we're looking at for tires? Oh, where am I looking at here? Yeah, it looks like a lot of the field has gone on to softs. Looks like a pretty even split between the softs and the mediums here. Only one driver on the hards, that being the McLaren of Gab. And now Spain, definitely known for being a high degradation circuit. We'll have to wait and see if perhaps the degradation is high enough for these soft tire drivers to not stick around that long. And A-Dub within a tenth of a second here. Noganator's going to go down to the inside of Texas Tornado as they're on their way in towards turn number 1. A-Dub looking in behind. He almost had to move for position. He doesn't anymore. Noganator has lost the car, and he slides to the other side of the circuit, and he is now off the throttle, and Noganator losing spots. Well, it seems like whenever Noganator doesn't have a good start, Brian Mosser doesn't have a good one either, and vice versa, as now the two championship contenders side by side through the fourth corner, and Brian Mosser down to the inside. I think he's going to make that one happen. Yes, he does. Only just and only for now, as Noganator down to the inside, and there was definite contact made there. Noganator gets turned by the Alpine behind. Brian Mosser had, it was Brian Mosser, excuse me, he got loose coming off the curb. And it looks like, is he beached there? I can't tell. But he had gotten very out of shape going over the curb through turn 5. He was hit from behind by the Alpine of Dead Text Message. We have a virtual safety car as the McLaren of Gab has come to rest retired atop the hill exiting turn 9. Texas Tornado on his way in. Could this be the move for the hards early on? Does anyone else follow him in? Does he have wing damage? Well, he has a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. That one, not ideal for him. Such an unfortunate beginning to this race for Brian Mosser. Side by side with Noganator. Perhaps did he slow down to give the spot back, knowing that he perhaps took it illegally, and he got hit from behind from the Alpine of Dead Text Message, who now replaces his front wing. I don't suppose... I mean... Dead Text Message was kind of in a bad spot, you have to admit, because naturally, you see a car slip and slide and get slow in front of you. Sometimes it's quite tricky to avoid those things, and that's pretty much what I think may have happened there. Well, DRS is enabled. We have the Red Bull of Demo within half a second of Soy Loco here, but meanwhile, A-Dub was within 0.2 of a second of Not Gravity. He wasn't close enough to make it happen. But I tell you what, A-Dub certainly trying to hunt down the Aston Martin ahead. He's really pressuring him here. Out of the 12th corner in towards turn 13 and 14. Who gets the better exit out of turn 14 and who gets the benefit of DRS? I tell you what, it looks pretty even Stevens there. And it's not really closing in either. A-Dub does set the fastest lap. With DRS, he is closing, not necessarily using his battery. Oh, I don't think he's going to get close enough to make the move, but there goes Demo down to the inside of Soy Loco, and that move was absolutely made there. Nicely done from Demo, who moves himself up in towards P4. A-Dub was not able to make the move that time, although Soy Loco still within a 10.5 of the Red Bull here. Tries to have the peak to the inside through turn 4. That one didn't get a chance to happen, although I will say, again, it seems like the softs are hanging on pretty well here. Does it stay that way? Do the mediums suddenly take precedence? We do, again, Spain is definitely a high degradation track. Oh, that's a big slide from Soy Loco and a great save to go along with it. But that has certainly hindered his progress there. I tell you what, it was a very good save, and it was, that's what we were talking about earlier in the qualifying session. That turn 7 and 8 corner, not only can you just get oversteer from existing if you go over that sausage curve, you can definitely find yourself spinning out of control. It looks like Texas Tornado has gotten around Peter, going up the hill through turn 9. Certainly an unconventional place to make the maneuver, has to be said. 1:15.335. It's the fastest lap. It's been set by Demo as they enter the 5th lap of the Grand Prix. A-Dub has a little bit of a peek down to the inside through turn 1. Doesn't have the ability or the room to make it happen. Texas Tornado, fastest lap, 1:15.004. Sounds right. Yeah, okay. It's slightly odd. I thought I said 113 earlier. I guess I didn't. It does have to be said, A-Dub certainly looks to be pressuring Not Gravity here quite well. Gravity, for the time being, kind of looks like he might be struggling with the car. We saw it through turns 3 and 4. Maybe his car might be slightly a handful here. There's 0.5 of a second between the Alfa Romeo and the Aston Martin atop. 0.3 of a second in closing for Alex onto Los Manigos here. Remember, Alex on the softs, Manigos on the mediums. I would believe the drivers on the mediums still at the disadvantage here. 33-lap Grand Prix here today, so anything can happen. I'll tell you what, Alex did not have the best go through turns 12 and 13, it seems. Down the pit straight they go. Looks like is A-Dub close enough. Again, he's not really taking the opportunity to pressure here. I think A-Dub realizing it's a very long race. And if he pressures too hard or too much, those soft tires will go away. Perhaps it's A-Dub playing it conservatively here. So we have a yellow flag ahead. Well, behind, kind of. Well, it is the Alpine of dead text message who was spun around through turn 10. And I think maybe was there an incident with Jean Carlos there. He was very close to the scene of the crime. Yeah, I'm not really sure. We might have to look at that one again later. Alex has gone way over the curb. Oh, and you see there how he's bottomed out on the sausage curb. Very lucky that Alex did not lose the car going over that. That was almost a catastrophe for the Aston Martin team then. Meanwhile, Demo now. Whoa, that was a big slide for him there. Okay, I think the softs might be starting to lose their grip. Down the pit straight they go. Does Demo have anything for A-Dub here now? Joey Loco trying to close behind on Demo. And it has to be said, Demo was only just coming into this picture for the podium spots now. It really has been A-Dub pressuring Not Gravity. Not Gravity's lost 4 seconds to the back of Fuse Rope. We know Fuse Rope's quick, but that is one hell of a gap to have in 7 laps of the Grand Prix completed. Joey Loco within 0.4 of Demo here. Joey Loco on the mediums. I'm starting to believe the mediums are going to come into play here any lap. 0.4 of a second ahead between A-Dub and Not Gravity. Looks like Los Mandigos poking his head into this battle as well. It's a 1.5 seconds behind Alex. Remember, had that hiccup last 1 lap ago when he went through turns 7 and 8. Joey Loco here, 0.4 of a second and closing. And A-Dub, 2.5 in closing on the Aston Martin. This is one hell of a battle here for the 2nd and 3rd spot. Let's see if anybody changes position. Joey Loco, I think, has gotten a pretty solid exit of that corner. It's a DRS train all the way back. Los Mandigos may have fallen out of length here. It looks like A-Dub's going to go down the inside of Not Gravity. Demo's going to try to get Not Gravity here, and he does. So Not Gravity losing 2 spots there in the span of DRS. Nicely done for A-Dub and Demo to put themselves into the podium. So now the question is for Not Gravity, is it a question of damage control? Well, I tell you what, I think he may have lost the grip there going through turn 4 because he shot down to the right side of the circuit. And now, well, I tell you what, he's picked it back up. Still trailing Demo and A-Dub here. Oh, looks like, oh, that was a big wiggle for A-Dub, and Demo might be able to capitalize. A-Dub nearly lost the car through 7 and 8, and it looks like Demo might have an opportunity now. DRS in towards turn 10, and he backs off. I think he could have absolutely made that move, and he chose not to. He was either it was defending by A-Dub, or Demo thought better of it. I think it may have to be the second option. I think A-Dub really held his line, so I think Demo just chose against it. Oh, well, Demo's taking the I know it's styrofoam. They have a fancy technical name for it. Polystyrene, something like that. Was taking the braking zone marker with him, and now here comes Demo down to the inside. Overtake made. Nicely done for the Red Bull. Oh, that's contact. Not Gravity getting into A-Dub there. Here comes Gravity having a peek around the outside. A-Dub doing well to defend the bottom. A-Dub's going to slide up the track as you would from entering the corner. Shallow. Oh, and that's contact! And Gravity's gone off, and he's in the barriers. Well, that, it has to be said, was a very, very unfortunate turn of events there between himself and A-Dub. I'm wondering if A-Dub perhaps lost the car, because A-Dub is definitely not the type of person to turn in on somebody like that on purpose. Either A-Dub's made a mistake here genuinely, or he's perhaps lost the car. I'm not quite sure which. But that is one hell of a bummer for Non-Gravity, who was having a damn good start to this race. Reminder, the implications for the constructor standings. Aston Martin lead the table at the moment, and while they are doing better than the two Mercedes, I think it has to be said that A-Dub is going to have a great points haul here for Alfa Romeo, who's in this fight as well. So Soy Loco now, I think the eyes might be on him because he's on those mediums, and he is, for the time being, keeping up with the three drivers on the softs ahead of him. Well, at least the two drivers on the softs ahead of him. Fuse Rogue's in a league of his own at the moment, as he was last time out. So Soy Loco and Mandagos here, the two on the mediums, within striking distance in the top five. Mandagos has kind of not really poked his head into any of these battles whatsoever. I think he might be playing it conservatively. Now, Soy Loco, former Division 1 driver in himself. A-Dub, one hell of a driver in his own right. Demo has proved himself last week that he does have some pace. I wouldn't think Mandagos is off that much pace-wise. I think maybe he's playing it chill here, which is not a bad strategy to have, because your main rival right now is going to be that Ferrari of Soy Loco, who's also on the medium. Gravity's picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, so it goes from bad to worse for the Aston Martin. Down the pit straight they go once more. Soy Loco closing the gap to A-Dub here. It's 0.4 of a second and counting, although A-Dub, while he has the DRS to Demo ahead. It looks like Alex has gotten around Noganator here. Well, it's side by side, and Noganator's off into the barriers, and that is a front wing gone for Noganator, and the virtual safety car is out. Well, he was side by side with the Italian of Alex going through that first corner, and to my eyes, it didn't look as if Alex had done all that much wrong. I'm sure Noganator would disagree, because now he finds himself in P8 without a front wing. It's like, well, what's happening here? We've got a slight change of position. It's like Noganator's seating position here. I don't think on purpose, but again, Noganator's going to have a big difficulty with his car. Considering he's not got in the front wing. He must be thankful that we're under virtual safety car at the moment. He's keeping the field relatively neutral as he has to limp this McLaren back around. Does anyone decide to come into the pits? Well, the answer is A-Dub, Soy Loco, and Mandagos here. Alex stays out. Well, this is interesting here. A-Dub obviously on the softs, so we'd have to believe he'll either be taking the mediums or the hards here. Mediums it is. DRS back enabled, back under green flag racing. Mandagos now. He chooses the hards. Soy Loco, I believe he's chosen the hards as well. Yes, he has. This is a huge turn of events here, because now A-Dub finds himself on the preferred compound. Is it going to be a bit of a stretch, though? That's my question. I think it might. That has definitely spread the field out quite nicely then. And by quite nicely, I mean, damn. This is battle on track. It contains that as dead text message back to John Carlos. Tell you what, John, dead text message might be having a look here. Got a lot of pace on these medium tires. looking to make up into the 13th spot. John Carlos, oh, and that's contact, and 2 cars in the barriers, and 2 cars off. Safety car on their way out, and it looks like did Gab DNF as well. Well, that has definitely taken 2 of them. Safety car on track. Well, that was about the worst turn of events you could have had there. John Carlos in dead text message. Did John Carlos lose the car ahead of dead text message, and that caused the contact and perhaps the spin in the crash, but it was synchronized crashing then from the Alfa Romeo and the Alpine. We've got ourselves here the full safety car on track. Now, who has yet to pit? The top 2, Fuse and Demo have yet to come in. Peter has yet to come in. I believe Peter might be coming in right now. Texas Tornado has came in again. His second stop. So it is just now Fuse, Rogue, and Demo who have yet to come in. I would believe they would go to the hards. Well, they actually, I tell you what, they might be able to go to the mediums, considering they're going to be under safety car. They're not going to pick up that much wear under the safety car. Interesting. Decisions. Let's see what Fuse does. Let's see what Demo does. Fuse coming in now. I would assume Demo's not going to be far behind. In towards the pits. Oh, that looked a bit quick. Well, he hasn't picked up a penalty, thankfully, because I tell you what, he was coming in hot. Demo's on his way in as well, naturally. What does Fuse Rogue decide to do? It is medium tires for the Williams of Fuse Rogue. Demo will put on the hards. So the top 2 won't be losing any spots here. But it now becomes very interesting what the strategy is. Now, Fuse on the mediums. Demo on the hards. I tell you what, I think by the end of the Grand Prix, the hards might be better off. We'll have to wait and see. Fuse Rogue has had an absolute handle on the field all day. And we'll have to wait and see if he holds on to it. I'm going to step aside and let the safety car sort itself out. Oh, and I know I said this, we were going to let the safety car sort itself out. But a huge congratulations, or congratulazioni, to that of Mediati, who has welcomed his newborn into the world. That, I tell you what, that is a brilliant sight to behold there. Congratulations to Mediati and his family there. That is a very wonderful thing. I tell you what, when this league does form quite the community here, and we all do celebrate in those various birthings and weddings and whatnot, so it is great to hear yet another life coming into the world from that of Mediati. So it does look as if, and now on to a sour note. Going from pure happiness to perhaps some anger here. Looks like John Carlos in dead text message. They're going to have to sort things out with the stewards. John Carlos certainly not happy. And it looks like Not Gravity certainly not happy with A-Dub there. Quote unquote, you know I love you, but bro, what was that? We'll have to take another look at that one later, perhaps. I know the stewards are going to. And it looks as if A-Dub saying it desynced and he went from his outside to his inside. It does seem as if desync's been a big problem with this game this season. And it looks like A-Dub is victim yet again. So it looks as if the safety car is going to be in this lap. So, safety car makes its way in. Fuse Rogue, for now, will be on the faster tire. Remember, he's on the mediums. Demo behind on the hards. A-Dub on mediums. Granted, they're going to be 3 laps old, and the rest are definitely going to be on older tires than that of the top 2 ahead. I'm going to be looking at A-Dub here. He's going to have the Red Bull of Demo kind of a sitting duck here off the start. Fuse Rogue has put together a masterful start of the safety car then. He's absolutely caught Demo lacking. And Demo has a 7/10 of a second gap to make up. And now A-Dub might be looking for it here. It looks as if there goes Mandigos around Soy Loco side by side through the first corner. Soy Loco heavy over the initial curve. Side by side again. Contact. And Mandigos is off. Well, I don't know how he didn't DNF, because that looked to be quite the hit there. Well, the AlphaTauri of Mandigos sorts itself out in the barriers. It looks as if Noganator has also had something happen. As Brian Mosser, getting around his teammate of Call Me Maybe there, puts himself up into the 9th spot. Very hectic start once again to the Grand Prix here. And as we're about halfway through, Demo has not been able to make a move on Fused Rogue. A-Dub has not been able to make a move on Demo. Looks as if Brian Mosser side by side with Peter DRH here in towards turn 10. Wheel to wheel, Brian Mosser gets around the outside and now has to deal with Not Gravity ahead of him. Reminder, Not Gravity has 3 seconds of time penalties. And look at Brian Mosser, round the outside. Yeah, he's done that. Unless Not Gravity has suddenly gone onto the brakes. I'm not quite sure what the problem is with Not Gravity, but he really let off the throttle then and let several cars go past. Down the pit straight they go. A-Dub wanted to have a peek down to the inside, didn't have enough real estate to make it happen. Texas Tornado trying to maybe look for one on Alex to put himself into the top 5 once more. Noganator on his way in. Closest battle on track, it's Texas Tornado. Does he have a move on Alex? He's going to look for the outside, which is back down to the inside. He's going to follow in the footsteps of the Aston Martin here. Alex pushes the corner wide, tries to build up more speed. Texas Tornado goes in deep, and I think Alex is going to have the better acceleration out of the corner. For now, it does look as if Alex has the number of Texas Tornado here. Meanwhile, it looks like A-Dub starting to fall behind the Red Bull. It was within 0.3 of a second after coming off a DRS. It wasn't DRS, down the pit straight. And now it's outside of 7.5 tenths. Something is going on with A-Dub. Is now falling back even further. Almost outside of a second now. It is a two-second gap from Fused Rogue back to Nomad, and here comes Texas Tornado. Out of the final corner, Alex did not get that good of an exit. Texas Tornado to the left side, and I think he'll be having this one. It is even Stevens between the two. Alex, I believe, has turned on the battery then. Still side by side. Tornado around the outside. That's definitely contact there. Even more. And has he perhaps pushed the Aston Martin out of the way? I didn't really think anything Alex had done wrong then. Alex is going to switch back down to the inside now, going through turn 4. Side to side between these two. Alex, I definitely don't think he'll be happy with perhaps the bump and run there. I will say, for the most part, they're making it look clean at the moment. Alex files in behind. Remember, he's on fresher tires in Texas by 1 lap. Alex does have a 3-second time penalty. Oh, that's heavy over the curb and then the outside, and somehow he was able to hold on to that. That's the second time we've seen Alex kind of have an incident where he's gone over too much of the curb. He had that one through turns 7 and 8 earlier on, and then there through turn 9. Took a lot of the apex on the inside and nearly lost the car. But he was able to hold on to it and now finds himself going down the hill through turns 13 and 14. He's got a second to make up here. Back to that of Texas Tornado. Now my question is, what is going on with A-Dub? Why is he falling so far behind the Red Bull of Demo? And Demo isn't exactly closing the gap to Fused Rogue either. Let's get that straight. He's staying within that 2.4 second range. As Noganator picks up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Meanwhile, Brian Mosser looks, he's within a second of Alex ahead. We see the positions gained and lost. Brian Mosser, stagnant, P7. Demo, currently driver of the day, up 7 spots. Currently finds himself in second. Alex up 6th. Peter DRH up 6. Unfortunately for Gravity, he's the biggest mover in the negative direction, down 8, as well as Noganator for that matter. Brian Mosser has the pit icon enabled on his multifunction display there on the telemetry. You can see. I'm not too sure why that is. Would Brian Mosser be coming in? It would be an unscheduled unscheduled stop for sure. Hard to know. Maybe the game thinks he needs to have another stop. That is a typical thing as well. Sometimes, you know, as Brian Mosser here to the left side, he's going to get past Alex here I believe, yes, he will. The inside through the first corner, and Not Gravity is retired coming through the final corner, and we yet again have a safety car on track. My question is, where has Gravity lost that car? Has he done it going into the pit lane, or has he genuinely lost traction going out of turn 13 and 14? Because he finds himself in the barrier somewhere, missing a tire. And now the safety car finds its way onto the tarmac yet again. Let's see, does Nominator come across the scene of the crime here where the car's already been removed? Passed him back there, yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happened. Safety car on track yet again. So, with 13 laps to go this next time by, does that perhaps throw another wrench into the strategy plan? Does anyone currently on hards make the jump to mediums? Does anyone perhaps on mediums make the jump back to softs? Because if we look, Fuse Rogue has been on the mediums for 7 laps. As it looks like Alex is going to come in ahead as well. Goes the Ferrari of Soy Loco, as well as the AlphaTauri of Texas Tornado. Softs on for Soy Loco. Texas Tornado has not met the stop yet. In for the AlphaTauri, softs for him. Brian Mosser stays out and pulls ahead. Alex comes in, he will fit the mediums. Call Me Maybe fits the softs. So right when we thought we were going to have our questions answered for tire strategy, the safety car throws another wrench into the mix here. And now we have, well, 3 drivers in the top 10. I would say that it feels a little weird saying top 10. There's only 11 cars left on the grid. Soy Loco, Texas, and Call Me Maybe are now going to play the aggressive game. They're on the softs, and they're going to be that way most likely to the end of the Grand Prix. We'll step aside for now. As Fuse Rogue still has a commanding lead to this Grand Prix. Safety car on its way in this lap. Reminder, Fuse Rogue currently has the fastest lap. And oh, by the way, he has stayed in first position the entire time. And also, he has led, well, he's led every lap, as I've just said, but he also started on pole. Fuse Rogue on pace, just about 10 laps away from perhaps a Grand Slam. Now that would be something to witness that. But now he has to contend with Soy Loco and Texas Tornado, and also Call Me Maybe. Now on those soft tires, might be having a go for that fastest lap and taking the Grand Slam away from that of Fuse Rogue. Down the pit straight they go. Back under green flag conditions here as the grid heads in towards the first corner. It looks like Texas Tornado might be having a look at Soy Loco here. Down to the inside. 2 of the drivers on the soft tires as Texas Tornado goes down the inside. Makes that move look relatively easy, has to be said. Soy Loco still looking for position, still in pursuit. Now, this will help Fuse Rogue if these 2 battle, and he doesn't, they don't contend for the fastest lap. That would certainly help the pace of Fuse Rogue. Looks as if Brian Mosser within 0.3 of a second of A-Dub here. Looks like Texas Tornado is going to play it aggressive. Through turn 7 they go, and Texas Tornado makes that move. Another very unconventional place to make that move happen in towards turn 7. And brilliantly done from Texas Tornado to put himself into the top 5 even further. It's Soy Loco, but meanwhile, it's Call Me Maybe getting around the Williams with Peter DRH, putting himself into P8. Remember, he's on those soft tires. This one is certainly going to help him here for the time being. Texas Tornado within 1/10 and a half, and I think he nearly lost the car there. He had to really scramble to get it back together. And Soy Loco down to the inside of Brian Mosser. To the inside he goes, and yeah, I think he's going to have that one quite easily. He's using overtake as well to drag race down to the first corner. Soy Loco on the inside, he's got the preferred line into the corner, and I think really, considering he's on the soft tires, he's going to have that one easy. There's Alex, wheels touching with Brian Mosser. They were side by side, contact was made, and they were both able to hold on to the cars. That one got dangerous right quickly. Is now Peter DRH and Noginator. They're side by side through the third corner, and it looks as if, oh, Texas Tornado's gotten around A-Dub through the fourth corner, as we're along with Noginator here making that spot. Peter DRH is going to lose another one, as he loses both to Noginator and Mandigos. Well, A-Dub has lost the spot to Texas Tornado, and now Soy Loco in behind. A-Dub stayed out on the medium tires. He might be under pressure here. 10 laps to go, 9.5 at this point. Fuse Rogue has a 2.5 lead over Demo. Demo, I hope really now listen, I don't have favorites on this grid whatsoever. Okay, we have to make this absolutely clear. I am about as impartial as it gets. I'm not here to, what's the politically incorrect term for it? I'm not here to kiss ass. I'm not here to, as Soy Loco goes down the inside of A-Dub. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I just tell it like it is. That is my job. As Texas Tornado down the inside of Demo gets that one. I am slightly pulling for Demo this week. I think he really unfairly had the... Oh, sorry. A-Dub's gone around and his front wing is gone. Well, he was side by side with Soy Loco there. Now is missing the end plate on the left front side. Aye. That, not ideal there. Los Manigos, I believe, was side by side with Noganator there momentarily. But speaking of Noganator, speaking of Demo, I am slightly pulling for him this week. I think he unfairly had the podium taken away from him last time out. And he finds himself here in the 3rd spot. Now he has to defend Soy Loco, who's on the soft tires. If Demo can hold on for just another couple of laps, he will realistically be on the better tire than Soy Loco. Soy Loco now is going to have the grip and the pace advantage. But how long does it hang around for? We started to see the softs fall off before in about 5 to 7 laps. Somewhere around there. I think that was about right where we saw. Meanwhile, Texas Tornado, well, he's got I believe that's a 3-second penalty. Oh, by the way, he's about to make a move on Fuse Rogue for the lead of the Grand Prix. Yes, he does. Soy Loco gets around Demo as well. And Fuse Rogue loses the lead of the Grand Prix. Now, mind you, he's got a 0.3 of a second gap here. Texas Tornado has a 3-second penalty as well. But for the sake of the Grand Slam, Fuse Rogue better get this one back as the 2 Mercedes look at... Oh, that's a dangerous sight, that one. 2 Mercedes side by side through the 4th corner. And now Brian Mosser losing positions then to both Call Me Maybe, his teammate, and Los Mandigos. He's now going to find himself in a battle with, guess who? Noganator. Remember, Brian Mosser was tied on points with Noganator last week in Austria. Now finds himself having a 7-point gap to the McLaren behind him. And oh, by the way, championship implications definitely at play. Does Noganator look down the inside? If he does, he might have a go. Brian Mosser's gone deep into the corner, and it looks like Noganator, he might have this move. I think he will. He still has the outside. It's very, very close indeed here between the 2 championship contenders. And the bid for Fuse Rogue's Grand Slam is off. Texas Tornado has led the lap. And I can't believe Brian Mosser still holding on to this position here. It's brilliant racing between these 2. Mandigos getting around Call Me Maybe ahead, wheel to wheel, in towards the 1st corner. Oh, this is definitely sketchy here. I think Noganator's gone quite deep. He's hit the apex curb. And Brian Mosser falls behind. It's not going to be much more than a 5-point gap at the very most for that position, but that's going to mean something for sure. Soy Loco on the podium. I thought he had himself a good chance last time out. I think he lost the car. So that position 8 to 9. There's only a 2-point gap, and it'll lessen the gap at the top by a whole 2 points, but that's going to mean a lot. And then me obviously not reading into things fully, Noganator does have a 3-second time penalty. Fuse Rogue within 0.3 of a second to Texas Tornado here. And oh, by the way, that may have opened the door for Soy Loco. Texas Tornado needs a 3-second gap ahead of Fuse Rogue to take the win. Soy Loco, all he needs to do is be in this fight and relegate Fuse Rogue down to the 3rd spot. As Fuse Rogue and Texas Tornado are going to battle it out in the 1st corner. Fuse Rogue has the outside, and he's going to take back the lead. Remember, we've had 6 rounds of the season so far, 6 different winners, as Alex getting around Demo then. Demo, 14-lap-old hards. Still trying his best to stay within contention of Alex here. Texas Tornado, I don't think is done fighting for this spot. Oh, that's contact! Gonna have 5 laps to go this next time by. A-Dub 3-second penalty, multiple warnings. Not what you want to see there. My question is does Texas Tornado and Soy Loco hold on here? Do the tires hold on now? The mediums, we haven't seen the mediums get this far into their tire life yet this race. This is new and uncharted ground for Fuse Rogue. How well is he able to hold on, and how well are the softs able to hold on? We know that about that 7-lap window, the softs started to get less efficient and less quick. The question now is who's better off here? DRS enabled for the top 3. Texas Tornado. Fuse Rogue tries to block the bottom. Texas Tornado dives inside. Perhaps contact being made. Texas Tornado has the spot. Switching back and forth. Brilliant racing this. And again, Texas Tornado on 3 seconds of penalty. Oh, that was a big wiggle for Fuse Rogue. Soy Locos had to lift, or else it was going to be a collision. Fuse Rogue did very well to save the car. That's not helped Soy Loco at all. Soy Loco was in a tough situation there. He had to lift, or else he was going to make a collision as Call Me Maybe, getting around Noganator there. So Noganator, Brian Mosser getting around, well, no, I think it was actually Call Me Maybe getting around Brian Mosser. Yeah, it was. Gotta say, that would have been a good couple of positions gained there for Brian Mosser to have been able to stay ahead of Call Me Maybe. That would have helped him out in the gap in this championship as the Mercedes yet again swapping positions. This is a better battle than it has to be here. Oh, Soy Loco's gone heavy over the curve through turn 12. That may have hurt him. 0.6 of a second the gap. Soy Loco, 0.5 of a second away from Fuse Rogue. He's closer to Fuse Rogue than Fuse is from Texas. Remember, this might be the battle for the win here. We're going to have 3.5 laps to go here shortly. Soy Loco needs to put the pressure on Fuse here. I know the tires are old. I know they're worn. They've got to be better than the 16-lap old mediums, though. Remember, we've had 6 different races, 6 different winners. Fuse Rogue in contention to be the first repeat winner of the season here for Division 3. And Soy Loco has the opportunity to erase that. And oh, by the way, until a couple laps after the safety car, Fuse Rogue had himself a Grand Slam going and now finds himself on the back foot, perhaps. Incredible how quickly things change here. 0.6 of a second. Soy Loco needs to play it calm. We're going to have 3 laps to go this time by. Texas Tornado has 3 laps to put on 2.5 seconds of gap. Noganator and Call Me Maybe exchanging pleasantries through turn 10. Soy Loco with DRS is not really using the toe. I think he could seriously be gaining ground on Fuse Rogue, and he's really not. Fuse Rogue, I will say, does have some significant pace in the straight line, because each and every time he is able to claw back any gap he has lost to Texas Tornado. As it's 3.5 here. 0.7 of a second amongst the top 3. Texas Tornado at this point in time will move himself down to 3rd. Soy Loco, 0.2 of a second on Fuse and closing. Soy Loco, I think, is definitely going to have to make a move here. I think he hasn't been using the toe down the pit straight. I think he could have had this move probably a couple laps ago already. Through turn 9. Remember, Soy Loco is in 3rd place. He is battling for the win here, considering Texas Tornado is now going to have 2 laps to put 3 seconds of gap on Fuse Rogue. Soy Loco, I think, may have had an opportunity in towards turn 10. Didn't take it. It's still 0.4 of a second. In turn 13, they go, oh, that was a big wiggle from Fuse Rogue. Here comes Soy Loco. He's going to have to use the toe here. Battery on, 30%. Does he hang in the toe of Fuse Rogue? Fuse's recharges on. Does Soy Loco have it? He's going to look for the outside. Oh, and that's contact there. I don't think Fuse Rogue has afforded him the space. Manigos getting around Alex then. I tell you what, I don't think Fuse Rogue has allowed Soy Loco to space. Fuse Rogue knew Soy Loco was going to try it to his outside then. And he really... I mean, Soy Loco wasn't... See, this is tricky, because I think Fuse Rogue has done the right thing defensively. Soy Loco's definitely, I don't think, going to be happy about it because contact was made. But in fairness, Soy Loco was not alongside Fuse Rogue. He did not have the line. So, in my mind, that might be a clean defensive maneuver from Fuse Rogue. He didn't afford him the space. I don't think he had to. Side by side here. Oh, this may help Soy Loco. Here he goes. Soy Loco down the inside. That's a bit of a bump. Can't ignore that. And then Soy Loco slides. And coming onto the final lap of the Grand Prix, Soy Loco slips and slides and picks up 3 seconds of time penalty. Oh, man. As Fuse Rogue to the outside. Texas Tornado tucks in line. Soy Loco, I think, has done all he could. But I do not think he will be able to claim the Grand Prix win here today. As we have a yellow flag, as Brian Mosser has gone off down the pit straight, the championship leader. Hold on to your hats, folks. Just when we thought Brian Mosser at least had enough to maintain a gap at the top of the table, well, he's made 90%, that much is true. But it does now look as if Brian Mosser may just lose the championship lead to that of Noganator. After all is said and done, he'll receive points for last place because he's made 90%. Oh, look at this. Texas Tornado down to the inside. Texas Tornado, by the way, has 6 seconds of penalty. Fuse Rogue having to defend now for some reason. I don't think Mandigos is in position to make up spots here. But coming out of the final corner, Fuse Rogue, he doesn't have the Grand Slam, but he does have himself a back-to-back win, and he is the first repeat winner of the season here in Division 3. Soy Loco did all he could. He will finish second, and it looks like Mandigos will get third. That's right, because Texas had 6 seconds. That is true. Yep. Fuse Rogue, brilliantly done. Gets himself first place. He didn't lead every lap. The Grand Slam is off. But what a result for the Williams driver. Well, after an entertaining and calamity-filled Grand Prix, remember these results are before any steward reports come into play. Fuse Rogue taking the win from pole with the fastest lap. He didn't lead every lap. That's the only reason he doesn't have the Grand Slam today. Soy Loco second, Mandigos third, Texas Tornado fourth, Demo fifth, Alex sixth, seventh is Noganator, eighth Call Me Maybe, ninth Peter DRH, 10th is A-Dub. Brian Mosser did not finish, though he will receive points because he made 90%. And unfortunately for Not Gravity and all behind him, they did not finish the Grand Prix. Now, from a very easy-to-overtake track, comes a couple of tracks in succession here. Very difficult. Netherlands, Canada, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore the next 4. Hotspot's been a pleasure this time out in Division 3. We'll see you next time.